up everyone? Today we are going to set up the ZED2 camera with Unreal Engine as a camera tracker and explore other features. So what we're going to do today, we're going to download the SDK from StereoLabs. We are going to install the plugin for Unreal Engine, and we're going to run a project with the camera tracker. So we're going to do an unboxing on the background. This is a pre-recorded unboxing. Just want you to have fun with the unboxing, you'll see. So anyway, I got this camera. We're trying to replace Intel RealSense cameras. If you don't know what's going on, Intel sent end-of-life notice, especially to these two cameras. This is the LiDAR 515 and the T265. They're gonna stop producing these cameras. They still quote producing the other cameras, but to be real transparent here, the whole RealSense department is gone. The project manager is not working on Intel anymore. A lot of the people who used to work on that department went to different departments on Intel, or they just left the company or let them go. Yeah, that's the situation. So no, there's not going to be more development on this camera, which sucks. More important, there's not going to be more production of this camera. They still say that they're going to do production of the other cameras that they left, but I highly doubt that that's gonna happen later. This is not the first time that Intel do things like this. I don't know if you remember the Intel Edison. This was IoT product. It was the chip of the size of SD card, and yeah, it was a really nice product, and it was Arduino compatible, at least pin wise. So you can add a lot of Arduino environment into this system. They kill it too. You know, one of the things I think Intel do all the time is they have a 4 years period. It's similar to DARPA projects. It's 4 years. They do whatever they have to do, and they take all the information and they move to the next project. It looks exactly like a DARPA project. It happened with Edison, and it happened with Intel RealSense. It could be that, or could be just all these troubles that you have with the CEOs, but whatever it is, I don't care. They're just not gonna make these cameras anymore. So at this point, I'm not even mad. I'm gonna stop developing for Intel, period. And by the way, yes, I'm gonna do some tutorials for the RealSense, how to set up the camera with Unreal Engine. There's not much to do actually, I mean, but I'm not going to develop for this, which was one big issue of jumping into these cameras, actually developing. And actually it was for the LiDAR camera. And what I wanted to do with this, it's similar to what DJI is doing with Focus Camera Assistant. The problem is, if you don't have more of these cameras available, why am I going to work in the project that nobody's going to have access, or only the people who got these cameras? And then once they sold out, it makes no sense. So I'm trying to find solutions, and this company StereoLabs is making something that is pretty much what I needed. And if you see this example, this is machine learning. Basically, I can show you another example here using the similar algorithm, but what they do in is more detail. But what I'm focusing right now is this. And this is exactly what I need. You can see how it tracks all the time. So you have that data, and you have ID on each elements that is tracking, and that's what I need. Basically, you can interpolate that information and send it to modify the focus. So I'm gonna do that, and you already know that I'm working with this focus assistant. So picture the whole picture, right? You have a focus assistant, you have a camera tracker sending the focus information, the distance information to the camera focus. And at the same time, you can send it to Unreal Engine. But I think as a standalone application, this could be a killer application. Again, this is open source, so you're welcome to jump in. Okay, so you see all the trouble that I have with the packaging. This is the only bad thing that you're gonna see about the ZED camera. It's just the packaging. It was a nightmare to take it off. So the easy way for me was to destroy the box. I didn't want to take a risk and push it too much and bump the camera or whatever. I broke the box. So the only feedback that I have on the packaging for ZED is probably to have the shape of the hands so you can pull. I think the only change that you have to make on the packaging, and still protects the camera. Now the other thing which amazed me about this camera is actually the USB-C port. You can screw the cable, so they have their own cable. I think that's a great feature, especially for virtual production where we're on a dynamic situation basically. And let me tell you, that cable doesn't go anywhere once you plug it in, and it works really well. That's the setup on the camera. The good thing about this camera is that it's doing a lot of things that we need in virtual production. I'm putting time on this, developing software for this camera, because there is support, and yeah, at least there is someone on the other side supporting this camera. Okay, so the way to set up this from StereoLabs, and this is a small suggestion for StereoLabs, is if they can make it easier for virtual production people who not everybody's a programmer, and I know that this system is oriented to developers, but I just think that if you reduce the friction, at least making a plugin, which they do, but they make you compile the plugin, so that's not the idea. The idea is to have just a plugin, drop it on Unreal Engine, and works. So yeah, so let's go step by step. Okay, so first step, as you can see, you have to download the SDK. We have a 3.64 SDK, but I recommend you to download the CUDA drivers first. So in my case, Windows and 10 and local. You want the local unless you have the network, or you can do remotely. So it's going to be 2.7 gigabytes. For the next step, which is going to be downloading the SDK. So you go to downloads, and it's going to be this one. And as you can see, it's going to ask you to restart the computer, and I have to restart the computer now. So I'm going to stop the recording, and I see you on the other side. Okay, so we're back. So you're going to find the SDK. It's going to be on your C drive on the programs file, x86, and you go to the bottom. I have to reinstall it, so it's taking the old and this is the new, and it's going to be ZED SDK. Once you go there, go to the sample folders, and boom, you have all the executables that are pre-compiled. You can play with it. You can check all the options that you have with this camera, but actually, the Explorer is the one you're gonna check. You have the Explorer, ZED Explorer, so you have the two cameras running. Right now I'm running at 720 60 frames per second. You can do 30 and 15, and at 2K you can do up to 15 frames per second, 2K on each camera. 1080 is going to be 30 frames doing both cameras. 720, the maximum is going to be 60 frames. VGA is going to be 100 frames. Okay. And before we go any further, if you have any trouble with the camera, it's flickering or doing some weird stuff. Okay, so first let me go through what's really the first troubleshoot that I have to do, and it took me like a day to actually figure out what was going on. First, let me show you what happened actually. So the first time I plugged the camera, I had this. I was freaking out. I didn't know if the camera was damaged on the flight, or what happened with the camera, if it was a defective camera. What I have right now, this is plugged directly to a USB 3.1. I tried many things. I tried to actually put it on the USB power that actually I have, I got the camera here, so I have this USB powered all the time. So this is a good one, and that didn't solve the problem. So right now it's connected directly. Let me show you. Boom. That's where it goes. Technically that's not wrong. That's a first generation. If you go to the documentation, it says 3.0. Okay. On that port, I leave that port at purpose, and it's connected directly to one port of the motherboard that is not being used, so you have the full speed. So that didn't work. So I sent an email to StereoLabs, and they told me it might be a cable, or it might be that I have to power the USB port, and I tried that, it didn't work. I have one port on my motherboard. I have a port to USB-C that I was using for a hard drive, actually. It's a USB 3 generation 2. Now, when I connect this to my USB-C port, Explorer, it works like a charm. No problem. Perfect. No problem. So, like, I'm not saying that it's not USB-C 3 generation 1. I'm just saying that it works perfect with generation 2. In my opinion, they should change that specification, but I had a lot of trouble making it work with the USB 3. Like, it's just the generation 1. It's just it didn't work. So anyway, there is a workaround solution, and I'm moving it, and like nothing. It's not even movement. What's the problem? What's the problem with the data rate? It just couldn't handle it. It might be my computer, maybe. I'm not saying it's not my computer. What I'm saying is it worked better with generation 2. I'm glad that that was the problem and not something more serious than that. These are the other programs that you already have here by default. So this is, so you change here to Ultra, you can do Live. And okay, so this is depth mapping, basically. We got depth mapping here. Let me go to another one. The next one is sensor viewer, which is going to be, this looks really good. The left eye information as a center. So it's good to know where the center is. This is key information for later in RealSense. This is going to be your center, okay? The gyroscope, that's the orientation. Obviously this is all combined, but you get parameters, not much I can change here, and magnetometer and temperature. So basically you're taking the temperature of the cameras on both sides, on the left and the right. Left is a little bit hotter, and yeah, let's see how it takes the bumps. Yeah. You might see. Okay, the older software that it already comes with the SDK. Let's generation the cloud data points, and this is how you check distances. I can do 720, 60. Oh, it looks amazing. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. And this is what I'm gonna use basically for checking the distance. This is it for distance. Yeah. Oh, it looks amazing. This is what I need for the focus control. Oh my gosh. Yep. Yeah. So this is good information. You can see the cloud points, and maybe running a 7 point at 60, it's good enough. You have to even run at 1080, and actually hello VGA at 100. Let me check that. Oh my gosh. Well, the video is not 100, so, but yeah, it's crazy. Okay, so we had that, and we're gonna use it for focus tracking. Okay, yeah, so once it's running, you might want to start working on the plugin. And yeah, it's a long process, it's a tedious process, and if StereoLabs can make it easier for, you know, virtual production people who, not everybody's a programmer, then they can't compile everything, they have all the tools, so they have, it's also a big inconvenience that you have to download all the tools that you don't actually need only to make one plugin. So this is more like a request than other thing. If if they can make the plugin already pre-compiled. From what I understand here, once we have the SDK live link plugin, okay, so you have the ZED live link plugin and you're going to download the zip and you're gonna follow all these instructions, which we're gonna go one by one. Okay, so with this plugin you can actually send skeleton data. So what it's gonna ask you is to have the SDK. You already download the SDK, and then you have to connect with Epic Games in order to download the source code. This is one of the problems that I was talking about. Epic Games takes a little bit to actually accept your request, so it's not going to be automatic. And sometimes that's why they have an asterisk. You might have to go to Unreal Engine group and manually ask, hey, can I get some help here? And they might here sign up. You know, these are the instructions, and once you have your GitHub account connected to Epic Games, you're gonna be able to download the source code here. Download or clone Unreal Engine 4 get sign. There you go. So this is the link, but it's not going to work if you don't have the invitation from Epic Games. So once you have here, go to the releases and you download the source code. In this case, we're going to use 427.2. You download this source code, and what I did, so this is what I have. I have all the Unreal Engines download directly from Epic Games. Now these are the source codes. And once you have a 427.2, the other thing that you're gonna need is Visual Studio. I have my Visual Studio 2017 and 2019 because I have a 2022 that I downloaded the other day. I tried it on 2022 and it worked. But anyway, if you try to compile, it's gonna ask you to download things that you don't have. So probably that's the best way to manage this situation. Once you have that, okay, so you have the source code right here, and it's going to ask you go to the root directory and run setup bot, which is going to be here. This is the setup bot. So you go right click and you run as administrator. That's key because it's going to make a lot of changes. So yeah, you do that, run as administrator. After you do that, it's asking you to clone this repository into Engine source program. So this live link plugin, the one you download here, and you're gonna go to Engine source programs, and you're gonna copy over here. I already have it. And after you do that, you go back to the root, and you're gonna run this generate project files bot again, with the run as administrator because it's gonna make some changes. It's gonna take a while. And once you have that, you can go directly to the root and build solution. And once you finish, and this is where the binaries, the build is going to be. The first time is going to download some stuff, actually a lot of stuff, so you have to wait. And once it's running, basically it's just waiting for the camera, and it's waiting for the connection from Unreal Engine. Okay, if it doesn't work, I highly suggest to StereoLabs is they can help in making one plugin, so it's easier for us to actually get into the camera way faster. This ordeal of having to compile all the stuff is not fun, and yeah, it's a lot of friction. Okay, so I have it here on the desktop anyway, so I never opened this, so I'm going to open this project. Let's open it with 427, because if I double click this, it's going to open 426. That's not what you want. If you want to open 426, just double click here. Otherwise you go to, so I go to the library and I will open 427.2. okay, so you're not gonna click on any of this, you're just gonna go browse. I get the folder. It's here. I never opened this, so I'm gonna open. It's gonna ask me if you want a copy, because this is an old version, and you just say yeah, open a copy. It's going to generate all the project files again for 427.2 and make a new copy of the project. Okay, so it's running now. So we open this and it's gonna appear right here, and that's the executable that is sending the information. Boom, it's connected. Okay, so you got this. It already says camera. So what we're gonna do is just add the camera. Cine camera actor. In the camera actor, we go inside. We got component. We got live link controller. Open it a little bit here, and we choose our camera, right? And voila, it's working. So there you go. So it's working, and the tracking is good. We can show some samples later. There's no problem with vibrations. You can see I just put like my peanuts just so you can see the camera, but yeah, it's really good. I want to try it. The next step will be try it on a real studio. Right now they're taking down the studio for a concert, so I might just go and without the LEDs, and I guess, but yeah, there you go. So what's next is I want to do the focus tracking. That's basically the reason I did this. And yeah, I have a lot of plans for this camera, at least for developing the focus part of this. On the tracking side, it's some things I want to check, specifically the best conditions that you can use on a studio. But I think overall, the few testing that I did is working so far. I don't have major issues. It needs a clear view of what you're tracking, basically. In a studio, it's easy to control those environments because you're working on a studio. I suggest that I did that before. I put some reflective tapes on the floor just to have a better idea of where you are. And if you do that, if you point to the floor, which is actually a really good idea, what you have to do is obviously you have to flip your orientation, right, of the tracker. We're gonna start doing a lot of experiment with this, so basically bear with me on this. And when I put this together with Arduino, with the camera slider, with focus control, so just picture all this together, right? Focus control with the camera tracker, with Unreal Engine, connected to Arduino. It's gonna be amazing. Anyway, so yeah, I think ZED has a really good product here. It's doing what it says it does, and we might have more than a solution for just tracking. And the really key thing here is that we have a lot of developers championing in this platform and then making new things, and that's very, very exciting. So other than that, subscribe to the channel. We're going to talk more about camera trackings in the future, specifically about focus. We're going to do AI focus with this, using pretty much the same elements to track a person and automatically adjust the focus. I think this is going to be a killer app by itself. Forget the other things that I'm doing, but just doing camera tracking, it could be by itself a killing app. But I'm working on this whole system. But yeah, this is where I'm going with the open source idea of grabbing all the brands and whatever brand you have on focus, put it on this black box that we're gonna build, and finally control regardless what you have connected to Unreal Engine. And actually, this application doesn't need an Unreal Engine. If you do this with the focus, it could be a standalone application technically. Okay, that was it for today. Thank you, and you know what to do. Subscribe, all the stuff. Yeah, and see you next time.